It's a great time for cinema, with more and more awesome movies making it to the big screen. 2019 will be no exception, and there are plenty of big-budget blockbusters headed your direction. Here we take a look at 10 movies that are going to blow everyone away in 2019. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel to find out first about your latest videos about your favorite TV shows and movies. Now let the credits roll, and let's begin. 10. Wonder Woman 2. Wonder Woman was undoubtedly the breakout movie in 2017. DC has struggled to convert its franchises to the big screen as effectively as the rivals Marvel. But Patty Jenkins takes on an Amazonian warrior goddess had critics and fans engaged from the start. It's unsurprising, then, that the sequel is already in the works, again with Jenkins at the helm and Gal Gadot in this titular role. Very little is known about the plot, apart from its apparently being set in the 1980s during the end of the Cold War. In a recent interview with the director, she revealed that it's going to be a completely different film from the last one, while retaining the elements that made the original such a hit. Rather than continuation from the first, it'll be a movie on its own right, and that can only be a good thing. Mark November 1st, 2019 in your diaries, because Diana Prince and her lasso of truth will be back in full force. 9. Aladdin. Disney changed the game in 2016 with the release of a live-action version of The Jungle Book. It was, for the most part, a great success, so the House of Mouse has turned its attention to the rest of its extensive catalog, and on May 24, 2019, will be invited back to the city of Agrabah with a live-action musical version of Aladdin. The original was the top-grossing movie of 1992, and Disney is clearly hoping the new version will be just as successful. Guy Ritchie is set to direct, with Naomi Scott set to take the role of Princess Jasmine, and none other than Will Smith becoming everyone's favorite genie. The movie has already been the center of controversy because of fears that the cast will be whitewashed. But Disney has promised that they have taken this into consideration, and they will be using actors that appropriately represent the setting. As the favorite childhood Disney movie of millions, this is one of the most highly anticipated movies of 2019, and audiences will be hoping to, once again, be shown the world in all its shining, shimmery, splendid glory. 8. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. If you're a fan of the original Japanese Godzilla movies, then the idea of an English-language version has always been a scary notion ever since the 1998 movies starring Matthew Broderick. In 2014, though, the reboot released by Legendary Pictures and with Gareth Edwards directing was widely praised for its new take on the franchise and drew in a new generation of fans. Now incorporated into a larger monster-verse, alongside King Kong, the next Godzilla movie titled Godzilla, King of the Monsters is scheduled for release on March 22, 2019. The story will take off from where the last one ended, and follow the efforts of Monarch as they try to save the world from the horde of god-sized monsters, including Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, and Godzilla himself. Directed by Michael Dougherty and starring Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things and Kyle Chandler from Bloodline, this is sure to be the monster movie of the year. 7. Star Wars Episode 9. December 20th, 2019 will see the release of one of the biggest movies of recent time, Star Wars Episode 9. Since the series was reawakened in 2015 following the acquisition by Disney, Star Wars has gone on to break countless box office records. The final movie of the current trilogy, Episode 9, will be directed by J.J. Abrams, a safe pair of hands in most people's eyes, and will, by all accounts, wrap up the story of Rey, Finn, and Kylo Ren. Be prepared for shocks, twists, returning legends, space battles, and plenty of lightsaber action. But as usual, the producers are remaining tight-lipped about what's going to happen, and will likely be well into 2019 before the first full trailers start to appear. As one of the most popular movie franchises ever, this is sure to be an explosive end to the year, and one that'll have audiences gripped right until the closing credits. 6. Bond 25. It's one of the longest running and, adjusting for inflation, the highest grossing franchises ever. And in 2019, 007 will be returning to movie theaters in the as-yet untitled Bond 25. Despite seemingly to have quit, Daniel Craig will once again be reprising his role as the British secret agent, with the director still to be announced. It will actually be the 27th James Bond movie, but it's referred to as the 25th because Eon, the production company responsible for the adaptation from Ian Fleming's novels, didn't have anything to do with the 1967 version of Casino Royale or 1983 Never Say Never Again. This series has been an overwhelming success in its current form, and it'll be sure to serve up the usual world-ending danger that Bond films are synonymous with. Let's hope that Craig's final outing as the secret agent will serve audiences shaken, not stirred, and set the bar high for whoever is chosen to replace him. 5. Hellboy. Guillermo del Toro co-wrote and directed the original Hellboy movies that were released in 2004 and 2008, with Ron Perlman taking on the role of the red-skinned half-demon. There had been long rumors of another sequel, but it was announced in 2016 that instead there would be a complete reboot of the franchise, this time with Neil Marshall directing and starring David Harbour of Stranger Things.
Yeah, screw you too.
Also featuring Ian McShane and Mila Jovovich and co-written by Hellboy's creator Mike Mignola. The movie will see the characters facing off against the Blood Queen, and it is said to be a much darker take than the original movies, more in line with the comics. It's sure to be an exhilarating ride for both longtime and new fans alike, and is expected to be summoning audiences to movie theaters in January 2019. 4. The Lion King. 2019 will see not one, but two Disney live-action versions of classic movies. On July 19th, it will be the turn of arguably their biggest and most well-loved animation ever, The Lion King. The original was the highest-grossing movie of 1994 as a result of the gorgeous visual effects and engaging soundtrack written by Elton John and Tim Rice, and this remake is set to take things to a different level. The confirmed cast includes Donald Glover, Beyoncé, James Earl Jones, Seth Rogen, Chiwetel Ejiofor, John Oliver, Eric Andre, and many, many more. It's directed by Jon Favreau, who also did the live-action version of The Jungle Book, and he says he will be taking the techniques he learned there to bring the lives of Simba and his family to life. With a freshened story and music inspired by the original movie, this will be one of the biggest family movies of the year, and one that will be sure to have audiences roaring with delight. 3. Captain Marvel. While DC already struck big with their first female hero-led movie in 2017 with Wonder Woman, Marvel fans will have to wait until March 8, 2019 for their own. Captain Marvel. It's a curious time for this movie to be released, which is why it's the Marvel movie that's made this list. It actually means that it will be in theaters a couple of months before the second Avengers Infinity War movie that lands in May, and the timing could have major implications for the wider Marvel universe. Will Captain Marvel be introduced in another movie and this will simply be a way to flesh out her character, or will events in the Captain Marvel movie lead towards the end of Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? We likely won't know until much closer to the film's release. But what we do know is that Captain Marvel first appeared in 1977, and having been present during an explosion of an alien device, her DNA becomes fused with that of the Kree, and she develops superpowers. Her real name is Carol Danvers, and many suspect this could be the beginning of a wider arcing storyline involving the Kree across Marvel movies and TV shows going forward. 2. Toy Story 4. Pixar is, without a doubt, the juggernaut of animation in the world of cinema, having turned their fortunes around and changed the way we look at animation, with the release of Toy Story in 1995. Fast forward 24 years, and Buzz and Woody are getting ready to do it all over again in Toy Story 4, scheduled for release on June 20th. Tim Allen and Tom Hanks are expected to be returning to their roles, and with no details having been released about the plot of the movie, it's sure to involve a number of your favorite toys from childhood. There seem to have been difficulties in the production of the movie, though, with late changes of writers and directors, but knowing Pixar, they're going to claw this one back and release yet another spectacular movie that will have us reaching for infinity and beyond. 1. Frozen 2. This brings us to number 1 on our list, and the movie that will have you singing to the mountaintops or wishing someone would let it go. Yes, Anna and Elsa are back with Frozen 2, set to slide into theaters on November 27, 2019. As the direct sequel to the original movie, you can expect catchy songs, amazing visuals, and Olaf up to his usual tricks. All of the cast from the original are returning, with Kristen Bell stating that recording has already taken place in 2017 and described it as a much deeper story. With the introductions of new characters and, of course, the returning of the favorites, this is set to be Disney's biggest movie of the year. If you or your kids love the first one and can't get those songs out of your head, then this will be the movie of the year for you. If you can't stand the endless versions of Let It Go, though, you might want to hide for the end of 2019 because, with the same songwriters as before, they're sure to have another ice-cold hit in the making. Thank you very much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, then make sure to subscribe and check out one of the other 2 videos on screen.